The drama surrounding the Raiders has reached a point that even the most loyal fans are starting to lose faith. Every time people think they've seen the team's lowest moment, the Raiders somehow manage to dig even deeper. What unfolded in Kansas City wasn't just another loss. It was an all-out collapse, a demolition that ended with a brutal 31-0 scoreline in favor of the Chiefs. It wasn't just the number of points on the board. It was how utterly lifeless the Raiders looked throughout the game. The Chiefs didn't just win, they dominated every second, while the Raiders seemed to forget what it meant to compete. When you take a closer look, the stats tell a story more shocking than the score itself. The Raiders ran only 30 offensive plays the entire game, the fewest an NFL team has managed since 2002. Think about that. 30 plays across 4 quarters of football. That's not just bad, it's historically embarrassing. The offense couldn't stay on the field, couldn't move the chains, and couldn't convert a single third down when it mattered. Watching the game felt like watching a professional team forget the very basics of the sport. Meanwhile, the Chiefs were a machine, smooth, balanced, and efficient. They knew exactly what they wanted to do, and they executed it flawlessly. Patrick Mahomes led 5 drives, and every single one of them ended in a touchdown. 5 for 5. There were no excuses to be made. The Raiders played terrible football, plain and simple. The coaching was uninspired, the execution sloppy, and the entire team looked unprepared. Even Pete Carroll, who was supposed to bring discipline and culture after the chaos of previous seasons, looked helpless on the sidelines. He admitted after the game that there were things they wanted to do, plans to get Geno Smith more involved under center, but they couldn't even run enough plays to get to that point. When you can't stay on the field, your playbook doesn't matter. Your game plan doesn't matter. It all falls apart before it even begins. This wasn't just one bad game. It was a reflection of everything that's been going wrong for the Raiders all season. There's no identity, no consistent style. When Pete Carroll came in after the Antonio Pierce chapter, there was hope that the team would at least have a direction, maybe a gritty defensive identity, something to build around. But now, halfway through the season, it's not even clear what kind of team the Raiders want to be. They're not a defensive powerhouse, they're not an offensive juggernaut, and they're not even a team that plays with pride anymore. They just look lost. Yes, there were key absences. Brock Bowers wasn't there. Jacoby Myers was sidelined. Those are important pieces, no doubt. But when your entire offense can only muster 18 pass attempts and 11 rushing attempts, it's hard to believe that the presence of a couple of players would have changed the outcome. Geno Smith barely had time to breathe in the pocket. Gentry could only manage 21 yards on 6 carries. The problem wasn't missing personnel, it was the total lack of rhythm, structure, and accountability. The coaching failed, and the execution was even worse. To make matters worse, every small spark of momentum was killed by penalties. Every time the Raiders looked like they might finally get something going, a flag would fly. A holding call here, a false start there, it was endless. Fans could complain about the Chiefs getting the benefit of the doubt from the refs, but the truth is, most of those penalties were legitimate. You can't put yourself in a position where the officials even have something to call. The Chiefs are a disciplined, aggressive team that forces mistakes from their opponents. The Raiders are the opposite, undisciplined and reactionary, constantly shooting themselves in the foot. Defensively, the Raiders were soft. They were so terrified of getting beaten deep that they gave up everything underneath. And against Patrick Mahomes, that's suicide. The Chiefs carved them up with short passes, efficient routes, and smart adjustments. Rashee Rice was back in the lineup, and with him healthy, the Chiefs looked unstoppable. The Raiders' defense seemed to have no answer, just standing around watching Mahomes pick them apart like it was a practice drill. Even the moments that could have turned things around didn't go their way. Devin White's strip sack? The ball bounced right back into the hands of a Chiefs player. Every lucky bounce favored Kansas City. It was one of those games where everything that could go wrong did go wrong. But luck only tells part of the story. The rest is about preparation or lack thereof. And then there's the quarterback question. Geno Smith has been given every chance to prove himself, but time after time he's come up short. His decision-making has been poor, his accuracy inconsistent, and his confidence looks completely shaken. It's fair to ask now whether the Raiders got sold a false promise when they brought him in. Watching him struggle while seeing Sam Darnold performing better elsewhere just twists the knife even deeper. Maybe Geno's best days are behind him. The frustration isn't just with the players, it's with the entire direction of the franchise. Fans are left wondering what this team is even trying to build. What's the long-term plan? What kind of football do they want to play? Antonio Pierce's Raiders at least had some edge. They fought, they had grit, They played like they cared. But under Pete Carroll, the fire seems gone. The team looks lifeless, the locker room uninspired, and even leaders like Max Crosby are visibly frustrated. You can feel the morale slipping week after week, and when that happens, when players start to lose faith in the mission, it doesn't matter how much talent you have or how good your playbook is. Football is about belief, about unity, about playing for something bigger than yourself. Right now, the Raiders don't have that. They're a collection of individuals, not a team, and no amount of post-game press conference cliches can hide that reality. The Chiefs, on the other hand, are everything the Raiders aren't. Disciplined, efficient, confident. They play smart, calculated football, staying aggressive without being reckless. They take advantage of every weakness their opponents show. Watching them on Sunday was like watching a masterclass in preparation and execution. And for Raiders fans, it was a painful reminder of just how far their team has fallen. As the final whistle blew and the scoreboard read 31-0, it wasn't just the end of another game. It felt like the end of any remaining hope for the season. The players walked off the field in silence, and you could almost feel the weight of uncertainty hanging over the entire organization. What happens next? How much patience will ownership have before making changes? And most importantly, what will it take to rebuild not just the roster, but the soul of this team? The Raiders need to find their identity again. They need to rediscover pride, discipline, and purpose. Because right now, they're not just losing games, they're losing themselves. And until that changes, fans might have to brace for even darker days ahead. So, Raider Nation, what do you think? Is this rock bottom for your team, or is there still a glimmer of hope left somewhere in this mess? Can Pete Carroll turn things around, or is it time for a total reset? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's hear your takes on what's gone wrong and what needs to change. And if you're still riding with the silver and black no matter what, make sure to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and join us as we keep breaking down the highs, the lows, and everything in between this wild NFL season.